Hi, and welcome to Try Something Vegan. Today's episode, stuffed butternut squash with cranberries and kale. You will need the following ingredients: butternut squash, olive oil, quinoa, garlic, dried oregano, salt and pepper, garbanzo beans, an orange, dried cranberries, vegetable stock, and kale. Let's get started. The first thing to do is to try to cut your butternut squash into equal halves. As you can see, I asked my husband to help me because cutting butternut squash is really tough. So please be careful when using sharp objects. Next, you want to scoop out the seeds and place your butternut squash on your baking sheet. Next, you want to drizzle some olive oil, add your salt and pepper, and place it in a 425-degree Fahrenheit oven to roast. Now, I don't know it yet. I have already made a mistake, but we'll get to that part in a bit. Add your vegetable stock and bring it up to boil. Then add your quinoa, turn down your heat so that it can simmer with the lid on. And in the meantime, we can begin prepping for the stuffing. And you're burning down the place! After turning off the fire alarm and the burners on the stove, I mince my garlic, set aside my garbanzo beans and my dried cranberries, zest a full orange, juice the orange, and chop up some kale. Into your skillet, add your olive oil and cook the kale until it is wilted. And here's where I realized why the fire alarm kept going off. The first mistake was not placing parchment paper or foil onto the pan. And because of the excess oil on the butternut squash and the pan, it began to smoke, which triggered the fire alarm. So I did the most sensible thing I could think of, washed the pan, and then added parchment paper and placed it back in the oven. Once your kale has wilted, add your salt and pepper, dried oregano, and your garlic, and mix until fragrant. Then add your garbanzo beans, your orange zest, your orange juice, your quinoa, and your dried cranberries, and mix to combine. When hollowing out your butternut squash, be sure to leave about a ½ inch around the border and about 3/4 inch along the bottom. Place your stuffing mixture into the butternut squash, and if you would like, you can use the excess butternut squash and mix it in with your stuffing. Place your pan back into the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes. So here I have the stuffed butternut squash with kale, cranberries, and quinoa. Let's see how it tastes. Big piece. Not bad. The first thing that I noticed, the taste of the orange and the zest and the orange juice really comes out strong in the stuffing. Not that it's bad, but that's one of the first things that I noticed. After that, I noticed the sweetness of the cranberries, which was a nice surprise. Quinoa would be the third thing that I noticed, and then the kale. Now, as for the butternut squash, in comparison to the stuffing, I think if I didn't have my mishaps, it takes second place. The stuffing is so full of flavor. If I make this again, more cranberries and more kale. But I'm a kale fan, so a little bit more salt and pepper too. But then again, your taste buds may be different than mine, so maybe this might be right for you. Maybe you want a little more salt and pepper, maybe you don't. Give it a try and tell me what you think. Despite my mishap with the oven and the fire alarm, the butternut squash came out good. I think I would have let it roast a little bit more around the edges, right around here, is where you really get that nice creamy butternut squash flavor. A couple of things that I noticed in making this recipe is that prepping is really important. The salt and pepper, the oregano, the zesting, setting aside the garbanzo beans, you want to do that around the time you have the quinoa simmering. Yes, dear.
What are your thoughts?
You really want to ask me this now?
Mm-hmm.
I think I could have used a little bit more salt and pepper.
I think I enjoyed the flavor as far as salt and pepper. I would have added something, an aioli or a sauce of some sort, a roasted pepper. Other than that, I think it was pretty awesome. I ate the whole thing.
Oh!
I think it was awesome. I enjoyed every bite.
Oh, well, there's another one there if you'd like.
I'm stuffed
Oh!
like a tick. Yeah, I got a food baby.
You have a food baby? Well, that was unexpected, but the hubby man likes it. So, I'm happy. I hope you give this recipe a try. If there's a vegan recipe that you would like me to do, please be sure to put the link in the comment section below. All the proper measurements and ingredients will be in the description box as well. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your auntie, all of them. And thanks so much for watching. And be sure to tune in next week to see what I do with the remaining butternut squash.